anyway, I work from home full time, and I am very fortunate that I have a flexible schedule and I can take my lunch and my breaks whenever I see fit. So I usually pick my son up from school. He gets out around 2:25. So I leave here around 2:15, 2:20 to go get him. Well, a couple of days last week and the week before, I had forgotten to go get him and he had to take the bus, which isn't a big deal because the bus literally drops him off at my driveway. Um, but he hates taking the bus and it takes him like an hour to get home. So I don't mind going to pick him up if I can. Well, I forgot to go pick him up a couple times and I felt really bad. So Tuesday, my schedule was wide open and there was no reason why I couldn't go get him. So I was on the phone basically with a coworker and we were talking about work at first and then we just started talking about other things with work and complaining and doing whatever. And I realized the time and I was like, oh, I gotta go. I'm gonna be late picking up Thomas again. He's gonna have to take the bus, whatever. So I run out to the kitchen and my husband's boots are by the door. Now, my husband's boots are huge, huge on me, probably like 3 or 4 sizes too big, but they were right by the door and I just wanted to go start the car at least. And then I was going to run in and go to the bathroom and then go get Thomas. So I put on the boots and I run down the stairs. Actually, I didn't even run down the stairs. I was walking, I think, because I'm not really able to run in Mike's boots because they're huge. Next thing I know, I'm doing a split down the damn stairs. Now, there's only like maybe 5 stairs. So my left foot is straight out in front of me and my right foot is bent behind me, stuck between 2 stairs. Because there's a space between the 2 stairs because they're outside stairs. So my ankle was killing me. I was like, oh God, I twisted it. I'm like, this sucks. And it was like throbbing. So I had to sit there for a minute and like compose myself because it friggin' hurt. So I get up and I can barely put pressure on it. Like it hurts so bad, but I'm like, I'm not going to do that to him again. I am going to go get him. So I go and start the car. I come in the house, I get my purse and my jacket, and then I go get Thomas. The whole way there, my ankle is throbbing. It is so sore. It's starting to swell. I am like in so much pain. And all I could think of was I don't want him to take the bus again, which was ridiculous because like I said, it drops him off in the driveway. So I get there and he was like, oh, I didn't even know you were coming today. I was going to take the bus. I was going to take the bus, he said. And I was like, well, I'm here. And then I told him the story about how I fell on the stairs and he was like, Mom, I would have taken the bus. It's not a big deal. And I know it's not a big deal, but this is the guilt that I feel because I work from home and I have a lot of free time. And the whole point of me getting a job working from home is so that I could do things with the kids and go to their school functions. And so that was Tuesday. Wednesday, I wake up and my foot is still swollen. And I am like, I really should go to the doctor's. Like, I could feel the pain in my bone. I'm like, something's not right. I can't walk. And my husband's like, oh, I think it's just sprain. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's friggin' broke. Like, my fibula is broke. I know it. So finally at like 3:30, no, it wasn't 3:30. It was like 1 o'clock. I'm like, all right, I need to go. So we go to urgent care. We went to this urgent care in Concord. And we get there and it's like 1:50. And the lady's like, it's going to be an hour and a half wait. Now, my husband had dropped me off and then went to park the car. And I'm like, are you serious? An hour and a half? Like, I did not want to sit there for an hour and a half. I'm like the most impatient person on the planet. Like, I hate waiting for anything. So I text my husband. I'm like, do you want to wait an hour and a half? He didn't answer, so I start filling out the paperwork. He comes in. I'm like, babe, it's going to be an hour and a half. He's like, well, what are you going to do? You got to be seen. We're already here. I'm like, fine. So he's like, I got a few errands to run. You know, I got to go up to, he had to do some stuff, and we were going to wait till after I was seen to do it. And I was like, yeah, I might as well just do it. I have to sit here for an hour and a half. So he leaves, and I'm stuck there. And I didn't even get called back into the exam room until probably 4:15. So I'm sitting there and I'm sitting there and I'm sitting there and I'm sitting there. The woman comes in, checks out my foot, does the blood pressure, weight, all that. Actually, I didn't do weight, but blood pressure, pulse, all that crap. Asked me past medical history, blah, blah, blah. Now, they close at 5. So I was like, okay, they're going to have to see me soon. I'm going to have to get an x-ray soon because they close at 5 and they're going to want to go home. So finally at like 4:40, they take me back to get the x-ray. They come back and it's like 5 to 5, 10 to 5. And they're like, oh yeah, it's fractured. You got a spiral fracture, 2 minor fractures in the fibula, which I knew. So I was like, okay, great. And they're like, oh, well, we don't do casting here. Are you freaking kidding me? You don't do casting here? Why did I come here? Why? So the lady's like, we're going to do a fiberglass splint. And that was like the doctor or whatever. And then there's 2 nurses in there and they're all trying to rush around because they all want to go home because it's past 5 at this point. So one of the nurses does the damn cast. And it's like this big cloth thing. And you get it like wet and then it forms to your foot and it's sharp. It hardens out over time. And then so she ace bandaged it. And the doctor was like, oh, I didn't know you can do that. And she was like, oh, yeah, I used to do it at my old job. She's like, I don't make it well known. And then there was another girl who was like following the other nurse around, like picking up her trash, doing all this stuff. And I just felt so rushed and they were so in a hurry. And the woman did such a crappy job on my splint or whatever. So I go home and my foot is so numb. Like I couldn't move my toes. It was terrible. And I was like, oh, they referred me to an orthopedic and I was like, oh my God, I think I did nerve damage. Like I can't feel my toes. This is terrible. So I get a ride from one of my friends, thank you very much, to the orthopedic the next day. And I'm hobbling in there with my crutches because it hurt so bad, and plus my foot was numb. So I go in, I check in, whatever, I'm waiting. So I get called back in and they take the fiberglass splint off and the nurse was like, oh my God, that was so tight. There was indentations in my skin, like pressed into my skin from the splint and the ace bandage. She goes, wow, that was really, really tight. And I was like, I thought so. So she leaves and then the doctor comes in and he was like, wow, you know, that was really tight. And I said, yeah, it really was. So he put my cast on, and he's like, oh, it's going to be a walking cast. I'm like, thank goodness, because I can't deal with these crutches anymore. Like, they were terrible. So he's like, okay, well, the lady's going to come back. The nurse is going to come back in and put the cast on for you. And he goes, you have any questions? And I was like, yeah. Am I ever going to get the feeling back in my toes, or do I have like nerve damage? And he was like, oh no, that's because the splint was on too tight. Are you fucking kidding me? The stupid lady at the doctor's office put it on so tight that I couldn't feel my foot and it went numb. And the doctor was like, oh yeah, you'll slowly get feeling back in there. Like, are you freaking kidding me? What the hell? Like, if you're in that big of a rush, don't bother. I was so mad. And like, I can finally move my toes, thank God, because I was like, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, I'm going to be like helpless, whatever. So I do have the walking boot, which took me like a day or so to figure out how to work without the crutches, because I am like the most uncoordinated person on the planet. So now that I have the walking boot on, I can walk around the house, but the pain is not getting any better, really. It's getting worse, which worries me a little bit. So I can't really do much. Like, I don't want to, it hurts to stand on it too long. So cooking dinner's a pain in the butt. Cleaning's a pain in the butt. Laundry's a pain in the butt. Like, everything's just a pain, and it hurts and it bothers and it's just terrible. So I've been asking the kids to do a lot, and they're really good about it. They'll do it, but I hate asking. And it's like, if I ask them to do too many things, and they get kind of like, ugh, I mean, they'll do it, but they get I could tell that they're pissed. And then I feel bad because I'm like, oh, I'm such a helpless invalid. Like, this is terrible. Hopefully this gets better. So it's just really hard because I feel guilty about making them clean the house and cook and do laundry and all of those things. And I know I shouldn't. And I know they'll do it, and they love me and they know I'm in pain. But it's still, the whole mom guilt thing's really bad. And I'm working today and they're at school and I couldn't drive them this morning and I can't pick them up. And, Riley's bus stop's a little ways down the road. And it was cold and it's wet and snowy and I just feel bad. I know it's not a big deal and I know people are going to be like, seriously, lady, like, you need to relax. But that's just my story. I'm sorry this was a really long video, but I just wanted to tell you about my story and how mom guilt makes us do weird things. But, what are some of the things that you have mom guilt about? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, follow me on social media. Have a good day.